self-healing meditation for our skeletal system. And really what we'll be doing is placing the light of our consciousness into our bones, into our marrow, communing with our deep waters. So there's so much that is connected with the bones. Like the saying of you know it in your bones. And it's that deep knowing when we have that connection to our own depth. This depth that is connected to lineage. And that our bones are the part of our physical body that remains to be still reminded of the past. And so in our bones lives this time capsule. And so we're going to be bringing in this honoring of our own lineage, our ancestral lineage, and however that relates to you. And that we're here now in this current timeline, in these bodies, holding both the past of honoring who's come before and the future of all who will come after, when all that remains, perhaps, right, are our bones. So can we bring in the light into our bones for optimal health, for our skeletal system to be functioning as it is intended, for movement with our joints and the levers of our bones and through these joints, through creating new blood cells in our marrow that supports our immune system, for minerality, how we hold and composite the minerals that we need in our body, and holding this space to bring in through the fascial connections around the bones of structure. So we'll begin with grounding. All you need is a glass of water. And if it feels okay to close your eyes, you're welcome to do that. And we'll start to connect to the ground underneath us, honoring the land that we are on, honoring these earth bodies that we are in, and honoring this great earth body that we are all from and connected to. And take a few deep breaths. We'll start to allow our awareness, our imagination to connect to a symbol that represents deep waters for you. So I'll give an example. For me, I went into this grotto in France that had underwater or underground river. The Gouffre de Paderac, as it was called. And so that's an image that's easy for me to come to. It's like, oh, this deep underground water. So I share that for you, but connecting to what deep water symbol for you can connect with. And we'll bring that essence of deep water now to connect in our pelvis. And this is going to support us to ground here and now in our bodies. And that deep water, connecting to the deep waters in our pelvis, starts to flow down through our legs, through our knees, through the lower legs and the feet, and continuing to trickle down below wherever you are seated. If it's inside, then this water, deep water symbol for grounding is going to continue to travel on the path of least resistance down through the various layers to connect with the soil underneath, and continuing to travel below the surface into the minerality and the different stones and rocks and lava and ancient waters of our inner earth. And this flow of deep waters continues until it makes its way to the very center of our great mama's core. This magnetic, pulsating, crystalline heart center. And then when we're here, we can establish this relationship with the very core of our Mama Earth, with this grounding. So whatever symbol that is for you to connect with the core, the water could, for example, go and make a geometrical pattern within and around the core and pulsating with this magnetic Earth star of Gaia. And then we establish this connection of ground. We can decide if we need to dial it up to feel a little more grounded today, or if we need to lighten the grounding. If we're already feeling a bit heavy and intense energy, we can decide like how connected is supportive in this moment. And then we follow this deep water pathway back up from the core. It stays connected there, but then follows all the way back up, bringing with inside these water channels all the minerality that is going to serve your skeletal system in this moment. So all the right combination of minerals coming back up through, getting the water structured as it rolls in vortices around and over the different layers of Earth's rocks and waters and lava, and comes back into our feet, merging with our own deep waters in our bones, in our marrow. And this water pathway continues to come up our legs and into our hips, and then cascades up and around all directions. And then from this ground and this root, we lift our spine up vertically and connect to our cosmic energy, our cosmic light, the cosmic deep waters to bring in for our highest self's wisdom, our own spirit's knowing. And so the deep waters from the cosmos coming in from this vertical line, cascading down into our crown, to the back of our neck, down the back of our spine, like this beautiful waterfall, cascading all the way down through, lubricating the vertebrae with this cosmic intelligence of the cosmic deep waters. And then this continues to follow and swirl around in our pelvis and meets up with our Earth's deep waters, the deep waters within our body. And together they form this trinity of deep waters of our own body, the deep waters of Earth, and the deep waters of the cosmos. And that starts to travel up vertically in the front of our spine, and then up through the heart, the chest, cascading down the shoulders, out through our arms and our hands, and continuing up through the center of the throat, up through the center of the head, and then like a fountain comes up through the center of the head and then cascading back down in three-dimensional fountain, creating this toroidal field around our body. And now bringing our hands together in front of our heart, with these channels open from our heart space, connecting to the divine love, divine intelligence, the sacredness of these bodies, connecting to this divine source energy. You can call it simply love. And that light that comes from here, the geometry that comes from here, the coherency from this place, and it is an infinite supply of healing source energy. And we can start to mold in between our hands this ball of light that is coming from the source, intending between our hands that this ball of light is going to travel into our skeletal system and bring into balance our optimal health, our ability to release any blocks that are no longer supporting our alignment in these bodies. And with this greater knowing that when we bring this healing and this love into our own sacred bodies, we then walk forward in our lives with this divine love that ripples forward and back in time, honoring all of our ancestors, honoring all the descendants, and walking here and now with this light inside our bones. So even if our ancestry is tumultuous, which most of ours is, we can consciously choose with this light to mend and also release any patterns that we have inherited that are not in alignment with this source of divine love. And we can do so in a very honoring way, of honoring how we have gotten here. And it doesn't even have to be a story. Just be this energetic of gratitude and release. Thank you. Thank you for all that you've been teaching me. I no longer need to hold on to this pattern inside my bones. And so with this ground and establishing our own connection with our deep waters, we also have choice and sovereignty always of what we allow inside this sacred space that we are establishing. There's a healthy semi-permeable membrane of this deep water in that form of the fountain all around us, connecting to our vertical line, this vertical axis always, to stay connected to our own inner knowing in our bones, in our own deep water. So just still molding this ball of light. We're gonna now envision this ball is getting really ready and warm and filled with the information and the remedies, just the right medicine for your unique body in this moment. And we're going to place the ball at our feet. So you can imagine placing it right above both feet. And this ball of divine source love energy starts to enter through the toes, through the bones of our feet, starting from the ground up, entering and lighting up every single little itty bitty bone in our feet. We have 26 in each foot, give or take. And lighting up all the ligaments and connective tissue, the fascia, and that pulsating truth of divine source and love coming all the way into the bone marrow. And that light continues to travel up through the ankles, which is the base of our shin bones. And that continues to travel up through our tibia, the shin bone, and fibula, the side of our shin bone, and traveling up. And if you'd like I'm doing, I'm just placing my hands kind of from the outside, tracing this line to support this connection. You can place your hands on your actual bones too. And then bringing that light and connection into our knees, our knee joints, the synovial fluid, the ACL, MCL, all the ligaments of our knees. And that light of healing energy continues to travel up through the femur bones, again, really connecting to all the marrow of these bones, the connective tissue and fascia that surrounds the bones. And placing that light and love now into the hip joints, the head of the femur that goes into the hip bones, the acetabulum, and all the ligaments of our outer hip. Bringing that love into our hips. And then we start to follow into the bowl of our pelvis, the front of our hip bones, into our pubic bone, the back of our hips, into our sacrum, the triangular base of our spine, and our tailbone, the end of our spine that was fused together. Bringing in that light and alignment and healing into our sacred sacrum, our pubic bone, all the bones of our hips, our pelvis. And then we start to travel up the sacrum, from the coccyx, the tailbone, up the sacrum, through the lumbar spine, lighting up the vertebrae, the discs, bringing in balance and strength and flexibility. And traveling up from our lumbar spine into our thoracic, the middle part of our spine. And again, you can be physically touching here or intending through where your hands are. Like my hands are in front of my sternum and just below my sternum, and my fingers I'm intending to travel with this light that's still pouring from our hands, connected to the light of divine love. And our fingers could almost be like these little laser lights of focus that we direct this light to. So the inner imagining of that light following, or you can also focus with fingertips or palms. So thoracic, spine, traveling up now through the rib cage that is connecting with these vertebrae, the ribs, although we have our 12th floating rib, the ribs that come and connect into the front with their sternum. Our collarbone, our shoulder blades, the scapula that connects our arm or allows the movement of our arm, and this joint from our collarbone right in the higher heart area. So the manubrium, just to the sides, there's these little joints that connect our collarbone to the rest of our spine, just in this little joint right here. So bringing in that love to this precious joint that connects our whole arm, that moves with our shoulder blade. And then bringing that light into the humerus, the upper arm, the head of the humerus, all the way down through the lower arm bones, that form the elbow. Also the retinaculum, it's like it looks almost like Scotch tape, this connective tissue that travels across our wrist, bringing in this light to all the bones in our hands, and the joints inside our hands. Bringing this light up through the cervical spine of our neck. And then there's one floating bone of our body, the hyoid, and it's under our tongue, kind of in the lower back part under our tongue, the hyoid bone. Let's not forget the hyoid bone, bringing in that light, love, balance. Continuing up through down the cranial bones. So many of our head has these plates, just like incredible tiny joints between our cranial bones. The bones of our jaw, the bones of our face, within the ears, within the nose, the bones around the eyes, there is a bone inside our face that looks like a butterfly, and it's called the sphenoid bone. And so bringing in that light into the sphenoid bone, which is where our pituitary gland sits on. So bringing in a balance and alignment here with this bone and all the fascia connected to it, so that our pituitary gland, which is responsible for so much of our hormonal functions, is in alignment. Bringing in to the top of our head, the tectonic plates of earth, like inside our own craniums, bringing in balance of all of our skull bones. And just now scanning over this entire skeletal system and asking yourself if there are any places that want extra attention, and listen to that. And this will be a time for me to not guide, but for you to listen to your own body, your own wisdom, and we'll now attune into this part of the self-healing meditation. So trusting the deep listening within. This is also a time to be releasing down that grounding cord of our deep waters. Anything that we are willing to release now. It could just be any stuck energy, intending that. Allowing it to be transformed away from the stuck pattern within our own skeletal system, following that grounding cord to be composted. So now, intuiting. Another few minutes just to complete whichever area you are focusing on. Few deep breaths just to allow now this healing light to be washing over all the bones of our skeletal system. Just like healthy, structured water, this deep water could be making little vortices and movements and the joints and our bones and the marrow, and letting that just on a multi-dimensional level, just moving through all the bones, all the joints. And in this moment, again, just intending anything that needs to be released, we release and we offer with gratitude for all the lessons, whether it's old injuries. We, again, don't need to stay connected too deeply to the story. We just bless that pattern and release if we are ready to release it from our skeletal system. Just a little bit of jostling, shaking our own bones and bringing in some movement here. Okay, now if eyes are still closed, we can stay in this place of envisioning with our imagination. That place we started with of deep water. So you can just bring in any image or place that represents that for you. And we can choose how to engage with this water to complete our session. It could be staying on the outside and giving gratitude. Perhaps it's splashing your body with this water. Perhaps it's jumping in. Perhaps it's singing to this water. So play with this and listen to what are your deep waters asking and inviting, and what is your intuition and spirit suggesting in this moment to seal our work of this self-healing meditation. And we will complete bringing our hands together in front of our hearts and rubbing. Place your hands over your eyes. You can open your eyes with palms over. And then slowly, like water, wash over your face to come back into the space. And if you have water, we'll take a delicious gulp, connecting it to the deep waters within. And we will close with a song to thank her deep waters. 4 times. First one, to thank the deep waters within. The second, to thank the deep waters between us, wherever you are listening to this. The third, to honor the deep waters around us. And then the fourth is to thank the deep waters all around the world and cosmos. Thank her deep waters. Thank her deep waters. Thank her deep waters for this life. Thank her deep waters. Thank her deep waters. Thank her deep waters for this life. Thank her deep waters. Thank her deep waters. Thank her deep waters for this life. Thank you. Thank you, water. Thank you, skeletal system. And may you walk with that knowing in your bones.